What we should do is do exactly what we did in South Carolina. We passed an Arizona-style E-Verify program that basically said no business could hire anyone that was in our country illegally. And if businesses did it, they were punished. That stopped everything in South Carolina. And when we do that across the country, it will stop all of those illegal immigrants thinking they can come here and make money off of U.S. taxpayers.
Welcome back. That was Republican presidential candidate Ambassador Nikki Haley on this program last month on the continuing crisis at the southern border. President Biden's watch has opened it up. And then on Wednesday, a federal judge ruled in favor of the state of Florida and struck down the administration's use of a parole-like program to release migrants caught crossing the border illegally into the country. In his ruling, federal judge T. Kent Wetherall II wrote, quote, "The evidence establishes that defendants have effectively turned the southwest border into a meaningless line in the sand and little more than a speeding bump for aliens flooding into the country." Joining me right now with reaction is the governor of the great state of Florida, Ron DeSantis. And the governor is out with a new book titled The Courage to Be Free: Florida's Blueprint for America's Revival. The book is currently #1 on the New York Times bestseller list. Governor, it's great to have you this morning. Welcome.
Hey, good morning, Maria.
What is the impact of this ruling, and what were you seeing before this ruling with regard to migrants coming into Florida?
Well, what the ruling basically says is that Joe Biden's been violating the law, his oath of office, and the Constitution. They are using this idea of parole, and they are converting it into a way to nullify our immigration laws. That's one of the reasons you've had millions and millions of people illegally pour across the border. Biden then paroles them, and then they get released into our communities. And so in Florida, we have had to deal with it. But I tell you, Maria, we also have to deal with boats coming from Haiti and Cuba. And the Coast Guard does a great job, but Biden doesn't give them enough resources. So we're actually under a state of emergency in Florida for the Florida Keys area. I've surged state resources. We've been able to bring those boats to a trickle. We haven't seen as many. And we've been able to help the Coast Guard repatriate 11,000 illegals just since August, which I think is a really success story. So you see the impacts all over. But we, I think, in this court case are really leaning in. And I think this is going to have national implications because this should apply nationwide and should force them to have to change their policy.
Well, it was very important, and thanks to your efforts, it seems to be changing. But, Governor, I want to get your take on what appears to be another emergency unfolding this morning, and that is around this Silicon Valley Bank and its failure. You took on the insurance crisis in Florida last year, tackling what was becoming a property insurance issue. How worried are you about Florida banks and the potential for a run on these banks with the Silicon Valley failure?
So I don't have any specific information about any Florida bank similar to Silicon Valley Bank, and hopefully that remains the case. Maria, it appears to me, this bank, they're so concerned with DEI and politics and all kinds of stuff. I think that really diverted from them focusing on their core mission. I also look at it and say, we have such a morass of federal regulations. We have a massive federal bureaucracy, and yet they never seem to be able to be there when we need them to be able to prevent something like this. And so we'll see what they do going into tomorrow. But I think it's just very disappointing. Kind of reminds me of stuff that we saw in the financial crisis or in Bernie Madoff, where you had warning signs, and yet the government, this is supposed to be their job, and they always seem to whiff when it counts.
Well, let's talk about your leadership. You wrote an entire book about the courage to be free. You kept things open. You protected students during the crisis of COVID-19, and you stood up to Disney. We have your op-ed here. Old-fashioned corporate republicanism won't do in a world where the left has hijacked big business. Talk to us about the Florida miracle and what you see happening for the country if, in fact, it takes on this item.
Well, I think, as you know, because I'd come on your show, I mean, we were getting hammered by the left, by the corporate press, by bureaucrats like Fauci every step of the way during COVID, whether it was businesses being open, people working, having activities, kids being in school. And, you know, I really took a lot of incoming. Even a lot of my supporters were telling me, man, you're getting killed. You're really going to be put out to pasture here politically unless you do something different. But I just had to look and say, you know what? My job as a leader is to put the interest of the people I represent and their jobs over my own interest in keeping my own job. And so if there's short-term political pain, and ultimately if it doesn't work out for me politically, that's fine, but you had to do the right thing. And I think the fact that we did that was part of the reason why we boomed so much. Yes, we have lower taxes. Yes, we're a law and order state, and you see disorder around the country. But the dramatic difference in approach between a New York and an Illinois or California and Florida, we really just started getting more wealth, more investment, and the state really took off. And yes, something like Disney, Maria, my view, when we say we're the free state of Florida, yes, we want to prevent you from being overtaxed, and we don't have an income tax. Make sure you don't have to deal with these ridiculous COVID restrictions, which Biden is still clinging to, trying to keep Novak Djokovic out of the country. So that's important. But I think we have to recognize the left is trying to impose its agenda through all of our arteries in society, including corporate America. And so part of my job to protect the freedoms of my citizens is to ensure that the left's not able to impose their agenda on them through corporate America, through bureaucracy, through universities. And so, you know, the fight with Disney was really about who governs the state of Florida. I think they thought for 60 years they called the shots. Well, there's a new sheriff in town, and we call the shots, and we made that very clear.
Yeah, I was talking to someone from Florida yesterday, and they said, look, there are 67 counties in Florida. We joked that Disney was the 68th. That's how much power Disney has had.
Well, they had their own fiefdom. I mean, they controlled 44 square miles of territory since the late 60s. No transparency, no accountability, exempt from laws. Had massive tax breaks. And it's like, you know, that's not good policy to do that. I've got other businesses and individuals that are participating in the economy. But especially, you know, when you're going to advocate against core policies of our state, like the rights of parents and the well-being of children. So we ended their self-governing status in the state of Florida, and that was the right thing to do.
Governor, you made a stop in Iowa this weekend. How was it? Was this the first indication that you are running for president?
It's the first indication that we've got a great book that people are buying. We had a lot of interest. You know, Governor Kim Reynolds is a friend of mine, and I often tell people when they ask me in Florida, you know, who else has done a good job, and I always say, you know, you look what Iowa's done. They've done a lot of the things that Florida's done. They've got a great legislature, and I have an interesting catbird seat in Florida, Maria, as you know, because people visit here from all across the country. They move here, and they tell me about where they came from. People come from Illinois. They're upset about how Illinois is run. People fleeing like Michigan lockdowns, I remember, were very bitter. People that come down from Iowa, they're happy. They like their state. They like coming to Florida as well. But we got a great response across 2 different cities. And I think it's just people look and they see, you know, we have a deficit of leadership in this country. And when people stand up and are willing to lead, and I talk about the book, when I became governor, I said, I'm not doing any polling. I never did a poll since I've been governor to try to tell me what to do. A leader's not captive by polls. A leader leads and shapes public opinion and brings the people with you. And I think the story of Florida is one, yes, policy success, but we went from winning by 32,000 votes in 2018 to winning by 1.5 million votes in 2022. We had the largest margin that any Republicans ever had for governor. And that's because we shifted the electorate in our favor. And I think that that's just a testament that when you lead and people know where you stand and you deliver results, they don't even have to agree with you all the time. They'll respect that, and they know they can count on you.
And, Governor, you're in the middle of the Florida legislature right now. What can you tell us in terms of your priorities? Where will the bulk of the spending be in your new budget?
Well, we're going to be strong on education and infrastructure because we're a growing state. So we're going to increase teacher salaries yet again. But, Maria, we're going to make sure these school unions are not getting any of that money, and we're going to do paycheck protection so that they can't do automatic union deductions for dues for the teachers. That's their choice, and if they want to write a check, that's fine. We're also going to do a big infrastructure plan, and we are going to prohibit CCP-linked businesses from purchasing land in the state of Florida. They want land grabs in our country, and we're not going to allow it to happen in the state of Florida.
By the way, speaking of kids, you've got 3 little ones in the governor's mansion. How are you and the First Lady managing that?
It's very busy, and people say you need to go home and rest sometimes when I'm out, and I tell them we don't get rest when we're at home. We have our hands full.
I'm sure. Governor, it's great to have you this weekend. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.